Welcome to Dr. Lottie's Science with Soul. I'm Dr. Lottie and the host of this podcast. Today, I am honored to have a guest that I have known about for many, many, many years and saw a book that was published back in 2006. And that book was called Grandmothers Counsel the World. Women elders offer their vision for our planet. And in that book, I saw and learned about grandmother Flordemayo. And I thought, someday I want to meet this woman. And today, 16 years later, this book was published in November, so it's almost spot on 16 years later, I have the honor to have her as a guest on my podcast. So let me introduce her to you that may not be familiar with grandmother Flordemayo. Born the youngest of 15 children in the highlands of Central America, grandmother Flordemayo was found at an early age, like others in her family, to have the gift of sight. By age 4, she was being trained in the art of curanderismo, which has been handed down from mother to daughter for many generations. Flordemayo's mother was a midwife and healer and taught her daughters in the use of herbs, women's medicine, and how women are to honor and care for our Mother Earth. Flordemayo now lives in New Mexico. She is a frequent presenter at national and international conferences and events, universities and colleges. And since 1999, she has been part of the Wisdom of the Grandmothers Foundation. Currently, in addition to her independent work as a universal healer, featured speaker, and woman of prayer, she is the founder of The Path, a 501c3 dedicated to the preservation of traditional knowledge and heritage seeds. Through her work with The Path, Flordemayo maintains a seed bank and holds gatherings to further educate and raise awareness of the importance of seeds. For without these seeds of the earth in the hands of the people, our future would be threatened. Flordemayo travels our beautiful Mother Earth to share her teachings and healing gifts, inspiring and fostering more spiritual understanding among people, so that all people may unite as one. Flordemayo is now formally recognized as the keeper of her family's sacred staff, which has been passed down for 12 generations. She works as a healer, curandera, and considers her Mayan heritage a keystone of her work. She is a founding member of the Church of the Spiritual Path, the Confederation of Indigenous Elders of the America, Institute of Natural and Traditional Knowledge, the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, Grandmothers of the Sacred We, and the Mother Earth Delegation of United Indigenous Nations. So a warm welcome to you, Grandmother Flordemayo. It's an absolute honor to have you as a guest today.
Thank you so very much. It's a great honor for me to be here with you and everyone, all of the listeners in the Four Directions. I am so honored and grateful. Today on our Mayan calendar is the day of, it is known as Akpu. And Akpu is the spirit of the warrior. And what that means within the Maya translation is one who can receive visions, mandates, and can travel into the spirit world, embrace that vision, that mandate, bring it back into a physical reality, and bring it into full physical fruition. So it's a beautiful, beautiful day for the warriors of the light all over the world. Thank you.
Wow, what a powerful meaning and day. And here I am interviewing you on this day. It's even more an honor to have you as a guest.
It's very auspicious for sure.
Yes. Um, can you share a little bit about yourself and your ancestry?
Okay, I always, I kind of become a little, how should I say, not knowing what to say when I'm asked about myself. But the one thing that I have learned about my ancestors is this, and I'm gonna light a little fire, okay? Just a tiny, tiny little fire. And I'm gonna offer this tiny little fire to each and every one. Um, this is a small little offering that we can do, um, and we can send it out into the four directions. But it's the spirit of the fire. It's the scent of this sacred herb here in the United States. This is known as California white sage, and the smoke represents the sending of the words out into the Creator. And so in Central America, my ancestors have always said to me, never speak without lighting a fire. And so that's one big thing that I have from my heritage and my ancestors.
That's just beautiful. It's a beautiful ceremony, and it's just that you were born into this and you learned these sacred ways of living as a young child. So you grew up in Nicaragua.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was your childhood like there? When did you know that you were a healer, you were incarnated as a healer?
Okay. Central America in those days, in the 40s, was still pretty much the way that it had been for a while. We were still in those days using a lot of pottery. We were using things, instruments that were made out of gourd, like little vessels, like little cups and things like that. And we still had some of our sacred food made still out of banana leaves. And so when I think about my childhood, I think about the beauty of the simplicity of the surroundings in which I lived every day. Of course, in those days, it was still very much of a rainforest. And I grew up with many, many, many numerous little animals as a child. So it was very, very, very magical for sure. From the time that I was 2 years old, and I say two because it was the age that my father passed away. And I saw my father in the physical, and then I saw my father when he passed away, that they had the wake in the house. And my mom had explained to me that he had gone into spirit. But the night of the day that he passed away, I saw him in the bedroom. And I saw him there as a figure contemplating us children sleeping. And so when I woke up the next morning, I mentioned to my mother in so many words, in whatever vocabulary a 2-year-old has, of what I saw. I guess I was looking for someone to, kind of maybe give me a little more explanation. Like, wait a minute, we're here in a moment, and then we cross over, but you really didn't cross over, because tonight I'm, looking at this figure. And so it was very, very interesting. And my mom had mentioned to me that at a very young age, I was able to communicate and speak very clearly. I did not have a lot of the baby words, that some of us might have, like I have baby words when I talk to my dog, like, but not as a child, not as a little one. I didn't have any baby words. And so this was the beginning, where my mother became aware that something, I had something that I was communicating. So I know from early age, my first experience. And at the age of 4, my mom, kind of, it was like a daily routine that she would ask us, have we dreamed? Did we have any dreams? And so I was always sharing my dreams, my dreams as a little child. And so at the age of 4, my mother initiated me. And in the initiation, and I say initiation because it was very, very profound. Her words were profound. And what happened was that one of the neighbors was going to have a baby. And so the neighbor had specifically asked for me to come with my mom. But I'm 4 years old. And so my mom woke me up in the middle of the night, and she said to me these words. She said to me, "Daughter, awaken." So I opened my eyes, and then she said, Doña, which is Mrs. Garcia, is bringing light forth. She's bringing light forth. So those were the words of initiation. And so I opened my eyes and I looked at my mom, and then she said to me, "Let's hurry, let's get there before the stork." So, you're a little kid, but you wanna run there before the stork, and it was really, really sweet. It was very sweet, and so I was able to go with my mom, and I remember that it was full moon, and my mom was 4'11". I'm 4'11". My mom was 4'11". And I remember us walking in the moonlight in these little dirt roads, little adobe houses, and I remember kind of playing with us as figures, the shadow figures in the moonlight, and remembering that our shadow might sometimes be very long and sometimes be very short, but we would be like weaving, going down to the neighborhood to deliver the baby. And I was able to, my mom was able to deliver the baby, and my mom brought the baby over to me, because when I came to the Doña Garcia's house, I was kept in the kitchen. And because I was a guest, they offered me a cup of hot cocoa, hot chocolate, And so I sat there and had my chocolate waiting for the baby. And so my mom brought the baby, and all you could see was the face of the baby like this, because she had the baby all wrapped up, and the baby was pretty stiff, when she gave it to me. But it was something very, very magical, because I remember seeing the light in the baby. And that's the beauty of it, when in Central America, they don't say you're giving birth. They said you are bringing light forth. You're bringing that light. And it's so incredibly beautiful, those words. And so I experienced that, and my mom was able to share with the mom, and the mom was so happy that I was able to see that. Now, not too long ago, I'm 70 something now, but I remember when I was in my 60s, I was visiting home, and the baby at that time, actually, I was 64. The baby was 60 years old, and the baby came looking for me. And he said to me, "I want to meet you," he said, "because I know you were there when I was born." And he said to me, I am Andresito, which means little Andrew. His name was Andrew. But when he was born, they call him Andresito, which is a tiny, tiny little Andres. Yeah, yeah. So I hugged him, and he said to me, "You have been on my mind all my life. My mom talked about you." So I said to him, "Thank you so much." I said, "That's so sweet." I said, "I'm so happy to meet you again." I said, "Meet you again." And here, I saw you when you were newborn, and now here you are with gray hair. It was so cute. It was adorable. Yeah, yeah.
That's what a beautiful story, and what a beautiful memory of your mother waking you up, and that you remember all of this, even though you were so young at the time. And you were one of 15 children. So
Yes.
were there several of you that became healers, or?
Everybody had the capacity.
Mhm.
Everybody. I have one, two, three. It's almost hard to say how many, were and are and still are practicing healers. Some of my brothers and sisters have passed away. Um, I have right now, I would say I have my older sister that is still with us, that she is she does a dream interpretation, and she can guide you, also through a healing aspect. But her knowledge comes from spirit, because you could see that she leaves her body, and that she's speaking to you from another place. Yeah. But my life was surrounded by children that knew a lot about the invisible world, which was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And so then you had all these amazing experiences starting at an early childhood. How then did you get into saving the seeds? Can you share more about your vision of saving seeds and the legacy you're leaving for humanity?
Well, first of all, I want to mention to everybody that when I was born, like I said, in the 40s, everybody had a small little house garden. You had like your healing garden, your spice garden, your your regular garden. So we grew a lot of the food that we could grow in Central America. We have four growing seasons. It's quite, you're never without fresh food. Um, so my interest had always been there, because I had my own little garden that I had to take care of. And so I've always had this in me, but moving into New Mexico in the 90s, I became friends with people that were saving seeds and were agronomists teaching seed saving, soil preservation, and also just doing some general farming. But my job, and I say job because it seems like I fell into the category when I was like invited to come to the farms and things like that, and when they were harvesting, is to do prayer, to do the prayers. And so that was kind of my direction, doing that. But it wasn't until the year 2010 that, and even before that, when I was when I was, traveling with the Grandmother's Council, I was talking a lot about seeds. I was talking about what we were doing in New Mexico with my neighbors, with my colleagues. And so in 2010, I started to receive visions about bringing people to New Mexico, and visions about making seed bundles and saving seeds. And one of the things that the beloved mother said to me was that the seed bundles that I am to make, that the seed bundle should be given to children that are newborn. And as I give the seeds to the newborn baby, to tell the mother and the father that the seeds need to be taken care of as if, or the way that we take care our human babies, that it is so important for these to be taken care of, to be protected. And so that vision came to me in 2010, and I have been walking around with that vision. And of course, in order to make the bundles, in order to do all of this, I had to start saving seeds at a certain time. And in 2011, the Grandmother's Council gifted us some seed money to build the seed temple.
And where is the seed temple? Is that in New Mexico?
It is here in New Mexico, in the town of Estancia. This is where I live.
Mm-hmm. And so now so this vision came to you that this is part of your work, your life work, is to help humanity save these seeds. Have you had any visions or messages, other ones that you want to share with humanity?
Right now, in the last 5 years, I've had visions of absolute destruction and devastation, of illnesses, of huge migrations, and all of that has come to light. All of that. One big vision that I had, that I shared at the Parliament of World Religion, was a vision that in where I was visiting New York City, and I stood and I was looking at the buildings, the big buildings, like the Empire State Building, like just huge buildings. And I remember that they started to collapse little by little, and they started to to fall. And I went into prayer and I asked the beloved mother, and it was so horrific that I remember in my prayer, I was crying and I was pleading and I was asking what was going on. And that is something that I walk with in my heart, because humanity right now is in the middle of the crossroads. We are in the middle of two crossroads. We're in the middle of this crossroad where we have to make all the right decisions. Today, there is no time for maybe. There's no time for saying, I don't have any time right now. There is no time for, I'm going to do that next week, because we don't know. We don't know what next week is going to bring. And so we have to be very present in the moment, act in the moment, and do everything in the moment for the future, for the better of the future generations. We don't have time to make mistakes. Or if we feel something in our heart, not to second guess it. So that's what I would like to share with everybody, that we have to do what we are passionate about. If we had a disagreement with someone, find peace with that person. Find peace with ancestors. Because all of us humans have the capacity to forgive, just like we have the capacity to love. So, don't wait. Release yourself. Let it go. Because we don't know. We don't know what is going to happen, where it's going to happen, or when it's going to happen.
That is very good advice. I feel very much the same. We don't really have time. We have to make a change now, because we need to heal humanity so that we can save our earth. And do you have any easy ritual or practice that you could share with the listeners that can help them on their path to healing themselves and healing the earth?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For all of the women that are having their menstrual period, for each and every one. And this information is also for the men. And the reason that I say the men, because many men are raising their children right now without a spouse, a female. And the men are responsible for guiding these young girls, okay? From the beginning of time, the women have always squatted on the floor, allowed the blood to drip onto the earth. And this is something, this energy that comes out of us women, the energy going into the earth is what fortifies the earth. And when the earth is in turmoil, as we have seen, okay, then we have been taught in Central America that every woman has a responsibility once a month to squat on the earth and release what she can and to give it back to the earth, because that is food for the earth and it helps the future generations. And it's something that we should be doing. It's not just that it happened in the old days. We need to do it now. And that is very, very simple ritual that we can do. It's very, very responsible to do that.
And for women that are no longer menstruating for one reason or another, is there something they can do?
They can share the information with their nieces, their granddaughters, great-granddaughters, neighbors. You know, we as elders are the wisdom keepers. The information is to be shared.
And can you talk a little bit about prayer and why prayer is so important?
It's important because that's all that we have. That is all that we have. And we should not wait for the moment where we are in crisis, where we are in so much pain that we do not know what to do. And the only thing that we feel that we have is to pray. And we should not wait for those moments. We should pray every day for all of life, for the rivers, for all that lives in the ocean, the waters, the mountains, the volcanoes, the air, all of the vegetation on the earth, all of the people. We are one nation of people. We're not separate. We are not separate. We're all one nation.
I couldn't agree more. We're all one in the end. We're all connected. And I think that's so important in today's world, is to understand and unite as one in order to move forward and save the earth and save humanity. Can you share a little bit about the vision of the golden child?
Yes, this vision came to me in March 17th of 2010. And it was an incredible, incredible vision. I was at a conference with 3 of my grandmother sisters from the Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers. And we were invited with 140 other people of prayer from all traditions to come together and to do prayer. The day that the grandmothers were supposed to do their first fire and the opening prayer, that night I received the vision. And I remember that it was a late night before I went to bed. I usually never go to bed at midnight. I never do that. But because of the travel and everything, it was midnight by the time I settled in my bed. And I remember looking at the clock that it was midnight. And I went into prayer and I started to feel the presence of someone in the room. And I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I saw this holy being moving towards me. And I say moving because it had no feet. It was like gliding off the ground. It was just gliding in the air. And as it was moving towards me, this being said to me, Flordemayo. And then I sat up on my bed, and I sat up in like a lotus position with my legs crossed and my hands on my knees. And this holy being then said to me, when it got very close to me, I have a gift for you. And so I just put my hands out, and the gift that this being gave me was an egg. an egg. And it was really, really big. It was about this big. But I want to share with everybody what this holy being looked like. The holy being had, as I mentioned, it was gliding above the ground, and it was dressed in this beautiful, beautiful, deep, kind of like how should we say, kind of like a Buddhist robe, this beautiful kind of dark red robe. And it had no head. It was just light. It was this like a light beam shining out of it. It did have hands because it was holding the egg. And so it gave me this enormous egg. And as soon as I touched the egg, I went into this spontaneous mantra. And the mantra was, "You are love. There is nothing but love. Love is all that there is." And so I started putting my hands all around the egg and just, just praying really, really loud. And before I knew it, I was up in the heavens. And the material that this egg was made out of was, the outside was like earth. And it started to fall apart. And I remember seeing the particles of the earth falling on the earth, because when I looked down, I could see the earth about this big. And then as I continue my prayer, the inside of the egg was made out of this like crystal substance. And then the crystal substance started to fall out. And I saw the crystal substance fall on the earth. And before I knew it, there was a baby inside the egg. And when I saw the baby, it was like an undescribable joy, just undescribable. And what I mean by that is that the baby was this perfect little being. Not only was it perfect, but the baby had golden skin. It's like when you looked at the baby close, you could see the skin underneath it, but the top of it was gold. And everything, the baby was just beautiful. And the hair, it just looked like little strands of gold. It was something very beautiful and magical. And I started to call the beloved mother and said, "Beloved mother, the baby, there's a baby in this egg." And then I shared with the beloved mother that the baby was androgynous. And then I remembered when I was explaining to the beloved mother the beauty of the baby, I was going step by step. And I was sharing with the beloved mother the eyes of the baby. And the baby had these beautiful almond eyes. And when I was telling the baby how beautiful the baby is, I said, "Baby, you're so beautiful." And I started to say to the baby, "You have such beautiful eyes." And then the more that the baby heard my voice, the more that the baby started to move and it started to want to open its eyes. And I remember that it showed me a shoulder, like it kind of moved the shoulder like that. And out of the shoulder, I saw a tiny, tiny little golden wing. And I was, "Beloved mother, the baby has golden wings." It was just this beautiful, beautiful, joyous, never seen anything like it. And then finally the baby opened its eyes. And when the baby opened its eyes, the baby had the universe in its eyes. And and the stars were twinkling inside its eyes. And I said, beloved mother, the baby. I said, the baby has the heavens in its eyes. And then my body, my light body came out of my physical body and went inside the baby's eyes. And I journeyed all over with the baby. And finally, when I physically woke up, it was just sunrise. It was like 5:30, a quarter to 6. The first light of the dawn was coming up. So I had been gone with the baby that long, because remember, it was midnight when I received the visitor. Yeah. So these things are very, very important. Okay? You are love. There's nothing but love. Love is all that there is. Humanity has to go back to love. We have to be able to love ourselves. And if we love ourselves, we could love others. Because that is all that there is. In fact, the beloved mother said to me 15, 17 years ago, I don't remember right now, she said to me, Flordemayo, humanity is made of love and light. So we're light beings and we are beings of love. So that to me is very, very important for us to remember. So this baby is part of the Mayan prophecy. In the prophecy, we are told that around this time of 12/21/12, okay, that we will be reborn in the color of honey, because in the Mayan language, there's no such thing as gold, but there is honey. Honey is the word. So for us to become these reborn children of gold, to be reborn children, that we are nor male nor female, but we are carriers of both. We're androgynous beings. And that is the energy that we should be looking at. We should not be looking at, that, oh, I'm a woman, oh, I'm a man. It's, they're asking us to, as they say in New York, I learned how to speak English in New York, they're asking us to forget about it.
That would be a New York way of
Oh
describing.
yeah,
Forget
forget
about
about
it.
it.
I used to live in New York too for a number of years. So I
That's where I
understand what
learned
you're
to,
saying with
I learned
the
to
New
speak,
Yorkers.
I learned to
Um,
speak English there.
yeah. Um, that was such a beautiful vision that you had, and how you saw the universe in the baby's eyes, and that we are all love and light. It's almost a reflection of the vision that you had, is a reflection of ourselves, because we are love and light and we carry the universe or the love and light within us. We are all connected. We're all one
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
humanity and with the universe. And it's that vision just ties it all together. So beautiful. And you seeing the earth from a distance, and that baby, which represents the life of humanity and who we truly are
Yes.
as beings. We are these spiritual beings that most people have forgotten. They've forgotten who we are and where we came from and how we fit in to the planet Earth. And people just people are so busy with their lives and trying to make each day holding everything together with work and children and paying rent and all the different obligations that people have, that they've sort of lost touch with who they are and how they fit into the earth. So that is such a beautiful message that you brought to all the listeners. So our episode is coming up to a close, but before we end this interview, tell all the listeners how they can find you and I know that you do private sessions. I know that you have lots of classes. How can people learn more about you and the path and the seeds?
Well, they can certainly look up Grandmother Flordemayo. That would be some things that I'm doing. Also, they could go directly to the nonprofit website, followthegoldenpath.org, and that will bring you into what I'm doing with the seeds. And this coming year, we're going to have 4 in-person events at the 40 acres. We're going to have seed school and invite seed keepers to come and to speak about seeds and for people that are interested. So we have this, we're opening the doors to the temples, and they had been closed now for almost 3 years because of the COVID. And so now everything is going to be reopened, and we're having more in physical events. And I hope to be doing some teachings on prayer and ceremony.
That's just beautiful. So to learn more about Grandmother Flordemayo, go to her website, grandmotherflordemayo.com. And to learn more about the seeds, go to followthegoldenpath.org. And I will be putting these 2 links in the podcast notes as well. So you can just click on the link and go straight to her website and learn more about these amazing projects. And before we close this episode, do you have any message or advice to the listeners that you would like to share?
You know, the beauty of it is that when I was doing, after I was doing my prayers, I noticed in a message that I received from Buddhist Wisdom. It's a magazine that comes from His Holiness. And in it, the one phrase of wisdom that caught my eye is this one. The truth is, you think you have time. We as humans think that we have all the time in the world, but we don't. And we don't know how much time we have. So please do what your heart loves to do, and do it. You know, don't wait to do it 20 years from now, 5 years from now, or even tomorrow, because we don't know. We don't know. It's really beautiful. The truth is, you think you have time. This is just like a message for humanity. It's really, really beautiful. Those are the words that I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. So true. And living in the moment and being present in the moment. And it's so true. We don't know what lies ahead. We can only see back in time, but not into the future. And to just every moment is a precious moment in your life. Every moment.
Every moment.
So I want to thank you so much, Grandmother Flordemayo, for taking the time to be a guest on Dr. Lottie's Science with Soul today. It was an honor to have you as a guest.
Thank you so very much. Much love and light to everybody. Thank you.